Hello, everyone, and welcome to the library. The library is officially open, which means, as always, that it's time to read or be read. I'm your host, Phil Picardi.
And I'm Meredith Toulousain.
Of course, it is officially Pride Month, so break out your Speedos, which I'm sure you already have broken out for Fire Island Pines weekend. But Pride is so much more than just a celebration. Pride is also about celebrating the protest and the equality movements that have gotten us to where we are today, and focusing on where we need to go, of course. How do we make sure that this original spirit of Pride is maintained even as Pride becomes more mainstream?
For that discussion, we have two guests joining us today, activist and friend, Joshua Allen, and we have Dyke March organizer, Alex Tereshonkova.
This is so exciting. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
We're so excited to have you both here because you two represent, I guess, what we're calling sort of alternatives to...
So-called alternative Pride.
Yes, so-called alternatives to Pride. It's revisionist history that it's alternatives, right? And I think it's amazing because as we talk about Pride and Pride's progression, even in the launch of this very publication, we're talking about LGBTQ people and the movement becoming more mainstream. But of course, as things become more mainstream, they also become more corporatized. How do you guys think that this kind of increasing corporate presence has affected the real or true nature or origins of Pride?
In America, they might be very pro-Pride and they might have great policies for LGBT folks, but in countries like Russia, where I'm from, they don't have the same level of equality. They don't have protections for same-sex marriages and those kinds of things. So it takes away from the fact that what they're doing here in America may be great. Here we have a rainbow flag shining and let's all celebrate how great these corporations are for funding our Pride, but in reality, behind our backs, they're doing things that are actually hurting our people.
Yeah, and that just kind of makes me think about the ways that the corporatization of Pride has really changed what the overall message is all about, right? It's because corporations really do value profit over people. And Pride is supposed to be a celebration of resistance of the people. And so I think that the moving in of corporations into Pride actually kind of, in a way, detracts from the original meaning that has so much power and really adds to a rich and vibrant history to what our community is all about.
Well, Alex, I think I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you have been passed the torch as the lead organizer of the Dyke March. Is that correct?
We don't really believe in hierarchy, so I'm not going to say lead organizers.
Okay.
There's a group of us.
I should have known that.
Yes, there's definitely a committee of folks, and we still are very in touch with elders and founders of the Dyke March, and we have a rule book that we follow of different traditions that have been followed and passed down throughout the years.
To take a step back, can you tell me when and what is the Dyke March?
Sure. The Dyke March was founded in 1993. It was founded by the Lesbian Avengers. It first happened in Washington, D.C. At the March for Equality for LGB folks, because T was not a part of that statement, which is really important to mention as well. And then a couple months later, they had one in New York by the Lesbian Avengers in New York City. Amazing.
And so when is it this year, and what can we expect from the Dyke March?
It is always the night before Pride. It's a protest to Pride. So we have it on June 23rd. And our themes every single year are about protest. We're not there to celebrate. It's not a parade. It's always going to be political, no matter what we do. Our theme this year is Dykeocracy Now, having to do with politics and Trump.
Dykeocracy.
Yep.
That is clever.
Yep. That is the majority of our organizing, is figuring out a theme every single year.
Obviously, this event has so much history, and there's so much importance behind it, especially probably now more than ever, I might say, given how Pride is moving more mainstream. What does it feel like to be running this event, and what do you think its place is today in this current landscape?
I've been a part of it for 5 years now, and I've really been seeing it within the 5 years that I've been a part of. For example, a few years ago, we were celebrating marriage, right? And it was a great time. Everyone was so happy. Well, we knew in reality there was still things that we had to be fighting for. And now here we are a few years later, and we're kind of back to square one with Trump, where we're just freedom laws and having to roll back all the laws that we're afraid of, essentially.
And Joshua, you're obviously like heavily involved in trans-related organizing, and we haven't had, that type of like marriage celebration moment. Like, what has it been like for you organizing alternatives to Pride events?
Yeah, you're totally right in the sense that we haven't had that marriage equality kind of watershed moment where everything in the world is changing and so beautiful and powerful. Actually, it's been quite the opposite. In the last couple of years, we've seen rising trends in violence, rising trends in marginalization of our communities. And oftentimes, I think people attach a rise in visibility with an increase in access to help health or well-being, and that's just not what I found in my personal life, and definitely not in the world around me. And so in the last couple of years, as I've organized Trans Liberation Tuesday, which, if people are not familiar, is an action that we have on the third Tuesday of every July since 2015, to basically kind of speak out and give voice to the violence that trans and gender nonconforming communities are facing. And we try to keep a special emphasis on communities of color who were disproportionately impacted by this violence. And so in my experience, it feels like it takes a turn, or it's a deviation, an alternative in many ways from what a normative Pride season would be like, but also it in many ways it feels like the idea of Pride always being a celebration is a revisionist history, right? It's a turn away from what's current, but it's also kind of a nod back to what was happening in the 60s and the 70s with the Stonewall riots, people being fed up with everyday violence and being ready to make a change.
Interesting. I guess for the people who live in New York or who are coming to New York for Pride and who may be attending the Pride Parade and obviously see no conflict in doing so, what would we say to them as a group to basically get more involved in the original resistance spirit of Pride?
Definitely be wary of who the sponsors are. Google them and find out what their policies are. Look at the news around the world and see what else they're doing that are that might be countering their pink washing efforts they're doing in the city.
For me, Pride is about service, right? When I think about what people like Miss Major were doing back in the 60s and the 70s and what Marsha P. Johnson was doing back then, it was an act of service to us who get to come behind them and live our most authentic lives in a way that's safe and affirming. Because I do believe that the spirit of Pride is one about resistance, but also one about supporting each other.
Amazing. I think that there are a lot of people who want to do the right thing. There are a lot of people within corporations, including ours, who want to do the right thing, including us.
Yeah.
And it's important to know and hear from perspectives about how we need to think globally about those things and how we need to be conscientious about those decisions. So
It's always a complex negotiation
Yeah.
as we strive for liberation.
absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate having you.
Thank you.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment below any questions that you have for us, and we will see you next time for the next Pride episode. Bye.
Bye.